and ready for another webinar. Today we're going to be going over the disability employment services and how they work. So if this is your first time joining me, welcome today, and grab yourself a coffee, pen and paper to write things down that you might need to, and so we'll just get started. Now, if you were trying to watch yesterday, I'm not sure what's happened. Ben is looking into that for me. So if you have missed the last couple of days' webinars, please let me know, because I can't seem to find it, but I'm wondering if, because nobody's said anything, that maybe they've managed to see it some other way. So let us know if you did see it. So that's yesterday's Tapping in Part 1, and the day before Tapping in Part 6. So let us know if you saw that or if you didn't see it and you were booked into and you missed out. Sorry about that if you did. Right, let's get into it. Acknowledgement of country. 30-foot drop acknowledges the traditional owners of country throughout Australia, recognising their continuing connection to land, waters and the community. We pay our respects to the Indigenous people, their beliefs, their cultures, to their elders both past and present. 30-foot drop funding. 30-foot drop would like to acknowledge the Department of Communities, Disability Services for funding this and many other initiatives. Without their help, without their support, so many projects such as Two Wise Monkeys wouldn't see the light of day, and we'd be much more poorer for it as a community. So we thank them for the funding. This workshop is part of the realities and advantages of an Access and Inclusion grant awarded to 30-foot drop as part of an information, linkages and capacity building grant for 2018 and 2019. Let's go over some housekeeping and how we run the workshops. Unfortunately, we do not have all the resources to monitor all of our platforms live. So if you do have any questions for me, there's a link just below this video, which is www.30footdrop.com.au. You can jump in there, jump into the live chat box, and you will be able to send a message. If you are watching from Facebook or YouTube, you won't be able to send a direct message to me, so you'll need to jump into that link. We'll be covering a lot of information in a short period of time, so we ask all attendees if they can try and minimise any distractions that you may have, which could be a little bit hard at the present time with some kids still being at home and working from home. But anyway, we can only try. And please make sure that if you talk about 30-foot drop, tag us, share our information. We'd love to be involved and get that message out there. And if you know anyone that may benefit from these webinars, please let them know. They can book into it, they can re-watch ones we've already done, and you'll get reminded. We also record every session, so if you did want to go back on today's one, you can rewind it once we've hit the end button. And all of the research spoken about is all available on our website. So if you want to look further into anything that we've spoken about, there's loads more information on our website under resources. So that is the housekeeping. Let's now move on to the introductions. I am Lisa, and I'm one of the Two Wise Monkeys. I am Hear No Evil, and the other monkey is Ben. See No Evil. He is the brains behind these projects, and through him you'll realise that you'll see no evil about disability. His disability, he has lived both sides of the coin, I guess you could say, where he was an able body and now he has been left in a wheelchair. So from seeing the way he was treated before and the way he was treated after, he realised that people just don't know enough. They need educating on how to approach and how to deal with people with disability. And it's not that they're purposely being negative, it's that they actually just don't know how to approach it. So that is why we are doing these workshops, so that people can be educated and learn how to deal with it. Now mine is a more hidden impairment. 30-something years ago, I was born 10 weeks premature, and when you're premature, there can be complications in future. So when I was 8, I was diagnosed with mild dyslexia. Teachers used to hit me on the head, yell at me, read out my low marks in front of my classmates, make me feel completely dumb and unworthy. But despite these challenges growing up, I was so determined to prove them wrong, and I ended up doing really well in my creative side, with my creative side of my brain, getting 90s, selling artwork, getting 90%, sorry, should I say, in my art, photography, and anything creative, sewing. So, you know, I felt like I did prove these teachers wrong. That passion didn't come until I was 13 though, so, you know, it was a struggle up until then, but once I found it, I found that confidence and that spark that I needed to get me through school. I studied really hard. I got extra help when I was in primary school, and that helped and got me through. You know, it's not easy having a learning disability, and it's very hard for people to understand that don't have one, but with extra time and effort you can get there. And it doesn't matter that you're not an amazing speller or mathematician to succeed in life. I've gone all around the world with an art diploma. I have a diploma in working with museum grade artwork and fine art. I've got a certificate in picture framing, where I have done picture framing for 12 years, organised art exhibitions, been gallery manager, framing manager, and I've absolutely loved it. I also have a diploma in counselling, which is what brings me into the Two Wise Monkeys part. I love to help people and make people feel better and understand each other. So if I can help people feel better about disability and impairment and help changes be made, then I'm happy with my job being done. So that is us, the Two Wise Monkeys. Now, when you think of monkeys, isn't there meant to be 3 monkeys? Who do you guys think the third monkey is? I think you. So today, the aim of today's workshop is to turn you into that wise monkey. Speak no evil. You will begin on a journey of realising, impairment or not, we are all human and deserve to be acknowledged and treated in the same way as in every other human being. And if you really did want to become that third wise monkey, we now have these gorgeous t-shirts available. They're on our website under our shop. So if you did want to go over and get one of those, they are $15 to $25 depending on the sizing. They range from size 5 kid size to 5XL adult size. And as you can see behind me, you can get them in black or white. So if you were keen to be that third monkey, go and get yourselves one of those. Right, now let's head into the outline and method of today's webinar. So how are we going to get you started on the path of a wise monkey? Well, there's a lot to learn about people with impairment and how to employ these amazing people into your business. First up, we're going to look at the disability employment service providers, what they are and how they can help your business. After that, we will go through 5 tips on how you can prepare your business to employ people with a disability or impairment. To finish up, we will have an open forum where you can ask any questions at the end, but you can also ask them along the way. So if you do have any questions or queries, please feel free to jump into the link below and send me a message. So how are we going to cover this? What will our teaching method be? The answer is fun, open, honest discussion. If we can't be open and honest about disability and impairment, then things aren't going to change. If you notice something within a business or service that really wasn't right because of your disability or impairment, say they had a high step, you couldn't actually get in the door, if their information was too complicated, just let them know, because we can't make these changes unless people are made aware, and that is exactly why we are here, to educate and make people aware of things that need to change. You'll notice as well that so far that there's very little written content on the slides, and that is so that we can all interact together and so that it's easy to follow. Sorry, something was just going on in the background then. Easy to follow. So we haven't got too much complicated information there. So you're not having to keep up with that information and getting confused about what's going on. But it's also good for people that do have impairments that are watching. It's nice and easy to follow, it's very clear, and it's not complicated. If you do have a hearing impairment and you are watching, you can now have this with subtitles. So you will just need to go to the platform Facebook, go to our 30-foot drop page, turn the sound down, and you'll have subtitles, which is really amazing of Facebook to have done that. It's only been on there 2 weeks as far as I know. So feel free to ask any questions, and let's just all be open and honest. Now next I'm going to go over some terminologies where a lot of people get mixed up with these wordings, thinking they're the same thing, whereas they're not. Let's go through disability versus impairment and then access versus inclusion. First up, I will talk about impairment. Impairment is an injury, illness, or congenital condition that causes or is likely to cause a loss or difference of physiological and psychological function. In short, your impairment is your medical diagnosis. So my impairment is mild dyslexia or dyslexia. A disability, on the other hand, is the loss or limitation of opportunities to take part in society on an equal level with others, due to social and environmental barriers. It is, as the word implies, something that makes you unable to access or participate in something. Oh, whoops, wrong button, sorry. So an example for me is that too much wording, complex information, or stylized script can make it hard for people with a learning disability or dyslexia like myself, which then makes it hard for us to get the right information that we need to use your business or service. Now this becomes especially important because some people's impairments, like mine, are hidden. So we could be potentially walking away from your business because it's too complicated and we can't figure it out. So, you know, this can happen to a lot of people even without impairments. It could be just too complicated. They don't even want to go there. I know for me, if I find, my husband gets annoyed, I know for me if I find things too complicated or difficult, I just give up. I just don't even want to go there. And maybe that's something to do with my childhood and how it made me feel and stuff. You know, if I sat there and actually tried to figure it out, I could, but got to have patience, and that's something I don't have much of. Anyway, I hope that makes sense, the difference between disability versus impairment. Next, let's have a look at access versus inclusion. Access refers to the removal or reduction of physical barriers to participate in activities and functions of a community. Access, at its core, access focuses on the physical world around us and can be assessed with a checklist. So, you know, these are things like door frames. Are they actually wide enough for a wheelchair to get in the door? Are the door handles easy to use? Could someone with limited mobility or bad arthritis get in your door? Is it a really heavy door where someone in a wheelchair actually couldn't even get in the door because they can't push it? So all these things that businesses need to look at. We actually do have a accessibility checklist available on our website, so you can head on over there, look at the checklist and take it around your business and see if your business is accessible. And you know, you might be able to make some changes there just by looking at that access list. Inclusion. Inclusion is more of a psychological state of being and is the process hereby every person, irrespective of their age, disability, gender, sexual preference, religion or nationality, who wishes to, can participate fully in all aspects of an activity or service in the same way as every other human being. Inclusion is making sure that everyone can take part, no matter how they look, how they appear, their religion, their sexual preference. You need to make sure that your business is inclusive for every single human. If that someone comes in a wheelchair, don't make it a big deal or, oh, you have to sit over here because you're in a wheelchair. No, that's not inclusive. Everyone deserves the same respect. So, those are the terms of those words, and I hope they all made sense to you guys. If you have any questions, please head over to the link just below this video and ask away. Okay, so let's get into this webinar today and look at the Disability Employment Services. What are they and the funding available? Disability Employment Services help people with disability find work and keep a job. Amazing. Disability service providers are called DES providers for short. Disability Employment Services are called DES providers for short. Through DES providers, people with a disability, injury, health condition may be able to receive assistance to prepare for, find and keep a job. How awesome is this company? And who here has not thought or known about Disability Employment Services? DES providers are a mix of large, medium and small non-for-profit and profit organisations that are experienced in supporting people with disability or impairment, as well as aiding employers to put in place practices that support the employee in the workplace. So lots of support around employing someone with an impairment. You're not just left alone to sort it out. That Disability Employment Service will always be there to help you and your employee. So if you're having trouble finding work, please today contact your local DES provider or have a look on our website for more information. The information for this is under resources. Okay, how DES providers are funded. They are funded by the government. Providers receive payments for helping participants find and maintain work. Payments are structured so that providers earn more funding when they place more people into lasting employment. This acts as an amazing incentive to make sure that they make the best possible matches. So you're not just getting anyone to come into your business and work for you. You and the DES provider work together to find the best possible match that suits you. Next, there are 3 services that we will now go over, which are job matching, role creation and support. First up is job matching. Let's have a look at job matching. How do DES providers make sure they find the right match? It's all about understanding both parties' needs, like I said before, and the link between the two. DES providers will help the job seeker find out the career history and the aspirations of the employee. They will understand the employee's barriers and work with those. They will work with the employee by exploring their qualities and capabilities. They also will help the candidate get as job ready as they can be through job experience, training and volunteering. Okay, the business. How do they help the business side? They will help their new employer, but they will help understand the new employer's business needs. So they will tell the employee what the business needs them to be doing within their business. They will describe and discuss the business dynamics and then create a suitable role. Once the employer and the employee fully understand both sides, then a match will be made with a job that meets both parties' needs. Let's now look at where clients come from. DES candidates are not forced into employment. So in saying this, you haven't got someone that doesn't want to be there. They are already actively looking through their local DES provider, meaning they are really wanting to work. So how do they come to know about you? How do they find their DES provider and come along? These are some examples of where people can find out how to get in touch with their DES providers and who are talking about them. They can find out through word of mouth. Self-referral following a discussion with a team member, family or friend. Self-referral after exposure to advertising or social media platforms. Referral from a health professional, community agency or school. Referral from Centrelink or another government agency. Community talks, community help desks, pop-up shops. Discussions with a health and community agency and school. Employment forums and expos, and us here at Two Wise Monkeys. So there's many platforms where you can get that information, and you can also talk to your doctor if you would like about the steps that you want to take in doing that. So, job carving and role creation. This is quite exciting, this one. Okay, this is aimed about improving business efficiency, finding tasks that can be done by people less qualified and cheaper, allowing the more qualified to continue with work and be more productive. Now, who doesn't want that in their life? Okay, so what is it? Role creation and job carving. Let's give you an example of how it can work to your benefit. So, example, there are 4 mechanics employed at a workshop. They spend the last 30 minutes of each day cleaning up the workshop. During this time, they are not creating profit and costing a total of 2 hours' wages at full mechanics rates. Employing someone to come in for 2 hours a day at a lower rate will allow the mechanics to continue generating profit for the business. How amazing would it feel as a business owner to employ someone that really wants to be there and have a chance at a job within your business? And how beneficial would it be to you as a business owner to know that you have saved time and money by employing someone who is seeking work through the DES provider? So, that's a great example where you can hire someone to come and do the cleaning so the workers don't have to do it. Or come and do the filing or something like that within your business. A job that's going to suit them, and you're not having to pay, for example, the full mechanics rate for someone like that. You pay the right award rate for that particular person. But, you're benefiting both parties. You've got someone in there that's really wanting a job, and you're saving money. So let's look into it. Okay, I did actually notice the other day at the Good Guys, there's a guy with a mobility scooter working in the Good Guys, and I thought, wow, they've done what we've been talking about. It was really nice to see. Customers were coming up to him, he was serving them, helping them, and it was just really cool to see that business had been really inclusive for that guy. Now let's look at the support that the DES providers can give us, as well as job matching and role creation. The DES providers also offer the following 2 free services. These are candidate support and application assistance. DES providers support their candidates in their role by regular on and off site visits, where they ensure the candidate continues understanding what the employer's expectations and needs are, so that employee that you've employed in your business is not left alone. That DES provider will always be there for both parties for the whole time of the employment. They also look for any requirements for assistive technology for both parties. So if you as the employer are needing some help with some kind of technology or help with your employee, then you as the employer can also contact the DES provider. They monitor developing requirements to maintain performance and deal with any questions or issues swiftly. Most DES providers are going to be available outside of the office hours also, which is amazing. So that's having that support, and it's all free. So why wouldn't you do it? Now, application support. DES providers will provide free assistance with the following applications: wage subsidies, workplace modifications, anything that needs to be modified within your workplace so that employee can come in and work, They will organise that through Job Access. Both these subsidies are covered in Tapping in Part 1 if you wanted to re-watch that, or join me in a few weeks for that again. So how do we get started? Today, get in touch with your local DES provider in your town or region, and there's many around, but if you wanted to have a look on our resource website, we have a few on there as well. Provide them with the required information and then employ a matched candidate. The DES provider will gather the required information for starting and organising the employee. They will fill out the paperwork and any other requirements to proceed with the employment. And how stressful would it be to know that you're not actually having to fill out all that paperwork? You as the employer can fill out that paperwork, but I know that that would be one thing as a business owner. Oh, I don't have time to fill out the paperwork. I don't have the energy or whatever. Lots of people are very busy within their businesses, but knowing that there's someone out there that will do all of it for you, and all you need to do is agree to it and get that employee in there, then it's easy. There's no stopping you. Okay, let's now look at preparing your business for that new and amazing employee. Preparing your business. So now that you have committed to employing someone with a disability, what is next? Here are 5 tips to get you started and ensure that your employee reaches their full potential within your business. Let's first look at candidate selection. As with all hiring, it's important to get the right match. A person's disability may be quite irrelevant to the kind of work required, which means people with a disability are employed all across the board. Using a DES provider, though, will give you access to a far wider talent pool of people. And the DES providers will have an objective and relevant advice for you when making your decision. Disability awareness training. Many people are apprehensive about dealing with some team members that have a disability or impairment. Conducting targeted training for your staff can address these questions and help people be more confident in working with their new employee, so that they can be comfortable and confident. This promotes positive attitudes and teamwork and ensures everyone is treated equally and fairly. Funding is available through funding is available through job access. So there are many different things you can do. You can get in an Auslan interpreter to teach Auslan level 2 if you have someone with a hearing impairment. If you have someone with a disability, you can then get in touch with Job Access to organise a disability awareness workshop for your whole team. So this is all free stuff that you can get in your business when you employ someone with a disability or impairment. So there's so many positives that come out of this. It's just crazy that more people don't know about it. Okay, accessibility. Preparing the workplace will create smooth onboarding costs. Preparing the workplace so that it is accessible will allow the employee to do their job and help with a smooth onboarding process, making sure the person with the disability is involved because they know what works best for them. Their needs are going to vary depending on the employee's disability or health condition, and funding is available for modifications, like I said before, through Job Access. Other considerations may include rosters, work times and practices, because sometimes it's a little bit harder for someone with a disability or impairment to be up at 7 in the morning and be at work. You need to take into consideration that some people with disabilities may have a carer coming into their home, getting them out of bed. So it's going to take them a few hours to get ready and get out the door. So if you can adjust to that, having the employee possibly starting later or changing their hours a little bit to help accommodate their needs, then it's something you need to also consider, which should be fine. As long, they're still going to come and do the job, just maybe the times, their starting time is a bit later and they finish a bit later. That's all you need to do. Okay, induction and mentoring. Your new employee should receive an induction relevant workplace training and ongoing support through a designated buddy or mentor, especially in the early stages of employment, which is very important. Think about any reasonable adjustments beforehand that may be necessary to make the induction and intake process as mutually rewarding as possible. So that's like anyone starting a new job. You never start a new job where you're thrown in on your own. So it's no different for someone with a disability or impairment. There's always someone that's with you for a couple of weeks, training you, getting used to the ropes, making sure that everything's going well and you're understanding everything. So there's no different for someone with a disability and impairment. They're going to need a buddy or a mentor. Now, last tip for today is post-placement consultant. If your new employee is connected with a DES provider, then they will have a consultant allocated to provide post-placement support completely free of charge. In addition to supporting the employee, the consultant is also intended as a go-to person if you as an employer have any questions or concerns. Use this consultant as a free resource to your business and your team to ensure things do run smoothly, especially in the first few months. The DES provider wants to make this placement work and make it as successful as possible. So make sure you keep them in the loop when you need help. Don't feel like you have to take it all on yourself, because that DES provider is there for you every minute of every day to support you and that new employee within your business. It doesn't need to be hard, and that is why they are here, to make it all easy. And you and they will get help through so many different avenues. Job Access is there to help with any modifications. They are also there to help with support. And the DES providers are not going to just put anyone in your business, because if it doesn't work out, they don't get paid. So they want to make sure it works, because that's how they get paid, and then they can pass the extra. I think there's some wage subsidies and stuff that go along with them as well. So there's so much that comes into it to make it work for you and your new employee. So I hope that you all enjoyed part 2 today. I'm going to be doing it again tonight at 6 p.m. So if you know anyone that may be interested in doing it, please send them along. If you have any questions right now, I'm going to press the open forum button where people can ask any questions that they may have. But please, if you do have to go right now, follow that link below this video and fill out Tapping In Part 2's survey. We would really, really appreciate that, because the more feedback we can get, the better we can move forward. Okay, so I will be back in a couple of minutes to answer any questions that may be there. Thanks for joining me if you do have to go. Welcome back, everyone. There doesn't appear to be any questions this morning, which is fine. I hope you all enjoyed the tapping in part 2 today. I'll be doing it again tonight, so if you did want to watch it again, I will be here. Also, next week I will be starting on Tuesday webinar part 3. So if you wanted to book into that, please feel free to book into it, and you will get reminded about the times and when it will be starting. Have a good day and have a good long weekend, everyone else in WA. Thank you for joining me. Bye.